A big weather pattern change is about to begin that could bring one final hope for possible snow further down south. When taking a look here at the latest climatology models, you're going to find something pretty interesting. And that's the fact for the remainder of this month, we are seeing a big area of blue across the east, which is representing a lot of troughing, which is basically just a big dip in the jet stream that creates storms. And then when comparing to the west, we have the opposite effect in terms of what we call ridging, a strong area of high pressure that's basically driving in a lot of dry and overall warm air. So basically, overall, what the models are trying to say here is that the fact that we are seeing the possibility of a lot more troughing across the east with a lot more ridging across the west. Across the east, this will bring more favorable storms, perhaps maybe some more precipitation and overall cooler air, as well as across the west with that high pressure in place that could theoretically just lead to mostly dry, overall warm conditions. And so with the higher likelihood of more storms across the east and more cooler air, this could theoretically lead to more snowstorms. And speaking of snowstorms, we are seeing a new system kick up here for tomorrow morning, driving a lot of heavy snow across the central northern plains, tracking in towards the Midwest, into the Ohio Valley, and eventually ending up here in the Northeast, bringing a lot of snow. So in the current warning stretch of things, we are seeing winter weather advisories across this purple shade for the northern plains. And as we move towards the upper Midwest region for that other shade of blue, we are typically seeing those winter storm watches. That means that overall wintry conditions is expected, and those are expected to change the warnings here eventually. And now I do expect these watches to be extended eastward as we do get closer to Michigan being impacted. We perhaps could see some more watches here by later on tonight. And so overall, the impacted areas does seem to be the North and South Dakota, Nebraska, Iowa, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Michigan, Pennsylvania, New York, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. So yeah, we're talking potentially a lot of states that could be impacted. So when it comes to the accumulations, we're going to break this down between really three models. We have the American GFS, we have the ECMWF, the European model, and we have the National Weather Service blend of models. Alrighty, so when it comes to the American GFS, we are expecting a lot of accumulations according to this model. Areas here towards, Nebraska, North, South Dakota, majority taking them about 3 to 5 inches, kind of what we're looking at. Now, once we move in towards Iowa, we're talking literally the possibility of maybe 6 to 10 inches with locally higher amounts being possible. Same thing for areas of northern Illinois, southern Wisconsin, northern Indiana, maybe around 6 to 10 being possible. Northern Ohio, portions here of northern Pennsylvania perhaps could see maybe, just maybe, up to 4 to 8 inches being possible. All right, GFS, I see you. So now when comparing this with the ECMWF or the European model, we are seeing a lot of similarities, honestly. The heaviest expected across areas of Iowa, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana, portions of southern Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, really kind of still showing around 3 to 5 for a lot of Nebraska, North and South Dakota. But overall, locally higher amounts across those regions perhaps could get maybe up to 4 to 8 with locally higher amounts a little bit under compared to what the GFS had to say overall. And lastly, when taking a look here at the National Weather Service blend of models, we are seeing a lot of accumulation with the most heaviest expected across portions of Michigan, Wisconsin, kind of talking around those ranges of maybe 6 to 10, with locally a few inches could theoretically be higher. Now, this is not the only snowstorm we are watching. There's actually another one right behind it. So what's essentially happening is we have a very strong area of low pressure just off the coast of Washington and Oregon. This is actually driving in a whole bunch of moisture from the northwest to the northeast that's going to be fueling this next storm system. Now, this is actually the same way that the one we're seeing now has already formed. And so honestly, this alone is kind of giving us an early preview that we might be in an active pattern. So the timing out of this first snow system that we're going to be seeing here is going to be driving its way tomorrow morning into tomorrow afternoon, kicking off a lot of snow towards Iowa, Nebraska, North and South Dakota. As we track our way down further into time, kind of for tomorrow evening into basically the morning of the 10th, we're going to see that snow kind of across areas of Wisconsin, northern Illinois, northern Indiana, and then eventually tracking its way towards portions of Michigan, northern Ohio, and then kicking off for the northeast basically here for the later 10th. Now guys, the last thing I want to talk to you all about is the potential of severe weather here for today and tomorrow. So we have ourselves a marginal threat here for today across northern Texas and southern Oklahoma, bringing the threat for possibility of some hail, although damaging winds and tornadoes is not on the table. And then for tomorrow's risk here, we do have that extended from portions of northeastern Texas through areas of southern Arkansas, northern Louisiana, portions of northern Mississippi, and northwestern Alabama, where tornadoes yet again is not a concern, thankfully. We do have a small little damaging wind risk here across areas of northern Mississippi, northwestern Alabama, and the hail is kind of the main threat yet again. Alrighty guys, well that's going to go ahead and wrap up the video. And hey, if you guys did enjoy it, make sure you leave a thumbs up and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you are new. Like I said, we're so close to 9,000, so if you guys could share this with your friends and family to help get the word out there, to help keep you all safe here whenever it comes to the weather and everything like that, guys. We greatly appreciate it. We will be live here later on tonight at 8 for personal forecast. Yet again, if you all have any questions, feel free to join later on, and we'll be sure to answer it live. All right, my friends, once again, thank you all so much for watching, and we will catch you here in the next one. Peace out, my friends. Love y'all. Stay safe.